8 lines from the bottom of the chapter, from where the chapter ends, page 96, starting with the parentheses there. So it's not from the bottom of the page, but from the bottom of the chapter. Chapter 27, Shaar HaEmunah by the Middler Rebbe. And we're talking about what happens when a mensch transforms himself. He's able to transform his taivas in this physical world and make them completely for Hashem. And he's able to go from one extreme to the other. And he's able to do it at the flick of an instant, flick of a wrist, as long as he wants it. Okay, starting off at the parentheses. Okay, Kiyudua. Bahamagid of Mezrich. Zal, what did it say about him? Sheagia b'soif yama. That he's able to come at the end of his days, Lezeh. Achar kol hatzamois. That after all sorts of fasting, sigufim, v'otzam hatahara. His self-inflicted fasting which he has suffered, v'kudusha b'oivda tema, and he was able to come to holiness through his full sincerity of his avodah. So what happened there as a result of all that? Sheba moich alev, that happened in his brain and his heart. Basar dafka, kamoy she'amar bepirush al ma shakir lepuil hakli metoich hakli. He saw that when a certain object was made, what do you see about that object? Shea soime ayin aleph echad. That he could see that from that physical object that the person who made it was actually blind in one eye. Whoa. She afshar lio, it's not possible ze ki im b'mei shiakol la'achir b'kol ruchni shebegeshem ad klolis or hachayos eloki ruchnius. That this wasn't possible until he came to a certain level within himself where he's able to recognize within the physical. He's able to recognize all sorts of spiritual things in general, that he's able to recognize a certain or and a certain chayas, godly chayas within everything. That was ruchnius, shu koach hamakor, which is the power and the source, lokol pu'ula, for every single physical thing that happened. Uberia ma'ayin le'esh, and specifically in this creation which comes from nothing to something. V'hu zoicha, and he merited to this specifically, shezehu bechinis hislabshus, being able to see the riyah haruchnius l'rus begashmius. He's able to see a ruchniistic thing in a physical entity. Gam misoifa olam ad soifa. He was able to actually see from one world to the other. So he was able. This is an awesome statement. It says about Hashem that Hashem sees from one world to the other. He sees from one end to the other end. And it said this actually in regards to the Maggid of Mezrich, that he's able to see from one world to the other. He's able to see from a ruchniistic plane to the physical. He's able to see the physical and actually see from the physical world, from one world to the spiritual right away. And from this physical object, he could actually tell that it was made by a person who was blind in one eye. And pretty amazing stuff. And due to his spiritual way of seeing things, he's able to see this physical world in the way that it really is. Belirois, hasidois, and he's able to see in the future ad shekarev lenavua uruach hakodesh, until he comes close, or he has navua and ruach hakodesh. To call inyan echad, it's all one thing. Ruach hakodesh, navua, it's all one thing. Kamuvan is explained b'toch al-kal. Alive in its spiritual essence, he's able to see how a thing is in its spiritual essence from how it is physically. So that concludes chapter 27 of Shaar HaEmunah by the Middler Rebbe.